Welcome to Love Light with Dr. Jean Marie Farish. Today, we'll show you how to use the spirit of love and self-worth to improve the connections with everyone else in your life. This program is your weekly gift, and it will keep on giving. You'll see. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jean Marie Farish.
Greetings and a hearty welcome, everyone. I hope you're all faring well. I'm Dr. Jean Marie, your Love Light host, coming to you from the Voice America Empowerment Channel, shining love light into your hearts and homes to empower your life with love. Today, we have a fantastic show, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth with Gary Stuart. And we are truly grateful to our listeners who tune in live and on demand. The quality of life, well-being, and expression of our unique gifts and talents are vital for human existence. We are all interconnected and interdependent. Interconnection is the touchstone of life. We're all part of the greater whole, and our paths may cross or diverge in accord with divine destiny that can be a catalyst for positive change. However, when we are trapped in artificial programmed stereotypical roles, this inhibits authentic self-expression, resulting in maltreatment, responding in unhealthy ways that influence our way of living and being in the world. Whether one is the oppressor or being oppressed, being trapped in victimhood, self-sabotage, or extreme survival mode. But change is possible, but it takes awareness and the desire to create a more just and equitable existence for the betterment of humanity. And our outstanding guest today, Gary Stuart, says we are one human family having the divine educational experience together on earth, united by life. Gary has been on a labor of love for a few years, compiling over 30,000 years of human history and ancient myths with an intention to lay the foundation to explore myths that created misogyny. In his international best-selling book, Venus Envy, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth. Gary is the founder of the Constellation Healing Institute, a 5-time international best-selling author, master constellation facilitator, and speaker who has been featured on the Dr. Nandy Show globally for ABC TV, facilitating transformative healing experiences for over 2 decades. Gary's skills and techniques help expand consciousness while resolving lifelong challenges, stagnation, and negative family patterns. And we respect culture values that enhance goodness and well-being for all. It is important to emphasize that our show today is not to demonize masculinity or divine masculine, but will shed light for us to become more aware and present in our relationship with ourselves and others. So now I am honored to bring forth our outstanding guest, Gary Stuart, on our show today, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth. Welcome, Gary, to Love Light.
Oh, thank you very much. It's such an honor. You always have such a fantastic show and deep topics, not fluff.
and thank you for being an honored guest. And you've been on the show several times. And, and I must say, congratulations on your new book. And I'm fortunate to have been a co-author in your book, Venus Envy, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth. And I must share that I am really I really admire your work on healing human history.
Yes. It's we're all in this together, and we got to love and support each other through the darkness because the light's always there. We just have to brush away the dust, and then it shines bright.
Indeed. And Gary, you're so inspirational and passionate about your work. Can you tell our listeners what really inspired you in this work and on your journey?
Well, for me, I mean, I discovered lots of my healing paths by seeking my own healing from a troubled childhood. And, I feel I found the best modalities for me, but then kind of this field of consciousness called me to it. And, I was moved to LA to become a stand-up comic. That didn't really work after I tried 11 years on stage a few times a week. I didn't know I was getting a PhD in public speaking, but that's kind of what happened. Then I got a massage, and when I was really drawn to healing, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and all of a sudden I got these messages. This person needs to hear that. What about this? What about that? There's anger in their body. There's sadness there. Blah blah. And I said, okay, and it guided me to lead people just to get body work and be healed while they were receiving body work. So it's like they were receiving nurturing, and yet they had pain in their body, and I was tuning into it. I didn't know it was consciousness, their consciousness I was tapping into. And it really is the same field as constellations. I'm guided by a bigger force with bigger wisdom. Some people have told me at the work, they said, that's not you. That's not you. Whoever's instructing you just knows what they're doing. And, I'm a good communicator, and I just feel humbled whether I've been chosen. I'm not the only one chosen. I'm not saying that. It's just those of us who are chosen with a higher calling just have to follow that message and that lineage, so to speak, to give more love to the world.
And Gary, you have such a depth of knowledge and wisdom, and with your years of research, shed light on how this book came into reality. And can you share with listeners, talk a little bit about male misogyny?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I looked at my Word documents when I was searching, to add chapters and stuff like that. And I saw the title page I made in 2010. And I said, wow, this has been talk about a belabored birth.
Yes. In the making.
Pun intended. So it's been gestating in my subconscious for about 15 years. And I just felt last year, I said, okay, I got to get on the stick and get this out there finally. And then when I see what's going on in the world, if you look at Mother Nature being attacked by corporations and just defiled, is just a macrocosm of the microcosm, how the feminine isn't appreciated, or there would be no future for humanity without the feminine. So how do we denigrate the feminine when our entire future relies on the birth of the next generation to do a better job than the last?
Yes, that is so true. And you talk a lot, your research really points to that.
Oh, yes.
And Gary, one of the things we get indoctrinated with a lot of beliefs. We carry on with those beliefs, and many times without even questioning those beliefs, and and they may not be working for us, but perhaps it's been passed down for generations.
Yeah, it's a bad habit.
And we become captivated by them.
Right, exactly.
And you really shed light on these false narratives and false beliefs and myths. Can you highlight some of those that were identified in your book?
The big thing that men are better than women, women are less, which is not true at all. Now, here's what I discovered. I don't consider myself an intellectual slouch. I did a ton of research. But what I did find is Earth, our civilization since the dawn, have been sun worshippers and goddess worshippers for 27,000 years. Now, what I found most interesting about that, there were very few wars. Isn't it interesting? We have a male-dominated Judeo-Christian, I'm not dissing the religion, just the negative aspects of the power is what I'm responding to. So here we have an angel, vengeful God that wants to punish anyone who doesn't go along with his alleged program. And this allowed people to exterminate, literally murder, genocidal murder of anyone who believed in a female goddess or female creation. Now, a lot of people don't know that Mary Magdalene wrote a book for the Bible. Virgin Mary wrote a book to the Bible. Jesus' brother James wrote a book to the Bible. Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Philip. So why weren't they included in the Bible? I think they were kind of key players, right? Yeah. So you would think Jesus' mother would have a place in the Bible. Well, number one, she was a woman, and if you look at the Bible, it's more male dominated. In the opening chapter of Genesis, is Eve corrupted Adam. page 2. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So everyone believes that, but I think even certain aspects of the Bible are misogynistic from a male point of view. And what was interesting in those books that weren't included, they saw the universe / God was more feminine and creative in nature than masculine. And I think sincerely, the talk about propaganda is that they edited it to have that male dominant point of view to deify the males. And a lot of people don't realize the St. James version of the Bible was edited by Sir Francis Bacon in England to give the King of England at the time divine powers, like he was the messenger of God on earth, and certain royalty in England was not friendly to the Vatican. There was many religious wars over monarchies and the Vatican and Protestants and Catholics. So there were endless wars over philosophies of, God on earth, so to speak. So all that aside, so it was societies were more egalitarian. If your audience doesn't know what that means, it means everything is shared by all. So when women ruled the roost, and it went so far that the inheritance of any child of a woman who died went to the first daughter. So it's interesting how the ancients knew something that's kind of been hidden through religious dogma of all the texts that are male dominated as opposed to equal or an equal balance of male and female in, say, the religious texts or whatever. So it's interesting. It was a more peaceful earth and nurturing and sharing without killing people for resources or to dominate Mother Earth, and I see, it's going to be a strong statement, but I see the corporate greed is raping Mother Earth, and all things natural are taken for granted or to be used for the highest profit for the male-dominated industries that will just slash and burn for their quick profits, not realizing they just poisoned the Amazon with oil in the Amazon River, or, the pollution everywhere, the mess. So I jokingly say that men are making a mess in the sandbox, so to speak, like they're belligerent children. And Mother Nature says, okay, now I got to adjust to this and clean this up. Okay, well, now they're demonizing climate, like climate's a bad thing. And it's like, my next book is on propaganda. And it's like Earth has had cold, hot, wet, dry, millions of years before humans showed up. Earth has its own life cycle, independent of humanity, independent of plants, independent of insects. And we're trying to say that mankind is destroying Earth, and Earth is a living, evolving, changing organism that does not need us. And it's feminine in nature because it's the creative principle of all life forms. We had a discussion at a church I used to go to, and she said, okay, give me your toughest question. The minister said, I said, yes. Can you tell me who birthed God? She was kind of stumped. So it wasn't part of the equation. So that shows how much consciousness has been stilted by that's why I call it misogynist myths. Everyone believes it's one way, but it's not necessarily the truth. As you know, if you tell a lie enough, it starts to become the truth and people won't question the truth. But the alleged truth is based on a lie that's untrue. So, well, if you want
complicated,
yeah, but if you want a 20th century example, the more Hitler said, Jews are bad, Jews are destroying the country, it's all about Jews, blah, blah, blah. I have a solution for that. We'll exterminate them. Then Germany will have no problems. Look at how that lie was perpetrated in the 20th century that made genocide okay. Yeah. And that shows now everyone looks back at that. Of course, he was crazy. It was a lie, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, in hindsight, you get it. But while it's happening, you just follow. Ironically, I use the word lockstep. You're in lockstep with the lie. So what I want to do is add a different angle to the consciousness. And this isn't... Men suffer from misogyny as well, because if they're sensitive men or tender men, we want a nation of soldiers who can go to war and fight for the red, white, and blue, which isn't bad in and of itself, but we'll create a war that's based on a lie. And like Iraq is a prime example, based on a lie. And I know personally, because my sister was there as a chaplain in Mosul, in Fallujah. So my family has a direct connection to that particular war, and it was all based on a lie. which came
wow.
out after. It wasn't true. So what did these men really want? Did they want to make money off Iraq's oil once they get rid of Saddam Hussein? So you just look at how it's perpetrated in this warlike kind of scenario, and they even called it a holy war against Islam. So here we go again. You know what I mean? It seems to never stop with our species, and maybe it's birth control. I don't know. I can't figure out why we're so militant and warlike. I would generally say, you know, being an evolved person, looking at everything, it's fear. A lot of it is fear. There's not enough resources. There's not. For me, when Mother Nature is the most generous, the universe, Mother Nature is the most generous thing, and consciousness is the most generous thing that ever existed. So why don't we just trust and know good will happen if we do good? If we do good, good will happen. If we do bad, bad will happen. So it's about, you know, one of the key insights at the end of the book, not to belabor it at all, is that men seek power and women have power.
Interesting.
And there's nothing more powerful than birthing the next generation. So women should be put on a pedestal for allowing any male's genes to move forward into the future. In my previous book, 2 books ago, I think it was, Raising Your Harmonious Child, every action that we take now will have 100-year influence after we're dead. So be careful how you treat your children, because 100 years from now, they said that SOB did this, that SOB did that, you know, and they don't know the time and place that existed, like the Depression or post-World War II or starvation. The future children aren't going to know what history had to be lived through for them to be there.
That is so true.
In my constellation work, I said, let's celebrate our ancestors, because we wouldn't be here if they made a mistake. The family tree would have died eons ago from a famine, from a war. So as bad as our family system was, we're here because they did good.
All right. That is so much said. I mean, that's a lot to digest. And we are recognizing the power of the divine feminine. And I think we're just about ready for a break. We got so much to share, and you have a beautiful exercise that you're going to take to release trauma and stress. But right now, I think we're up for a brief commercial break. So our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on Busting the Male Misogyny Myth with our outstanding guest, Gary Stuart, founder of the Constellation Healing Institute, Master Constellation Facilitator, 5 times #1 international best-selling author of many healing books, including his new book, Venus Envy, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Announcing Dr. Jean Marie Farish's new book, Love Mastery Devotion Journal, 21-day weekly prompts and affirmations. This is the companion piece to Dr. Farish's best-selling book, Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being. Through the new book, we invite you to cultivate a lifestyle of love through daily devotional practices over a 21-day period, following 9 ingredients in the recipe of love. Love Mastery Devotion Journal, 21-day weekly prompts and affirmations, is available on Amazon.com and Balboa Press.
Jean Marie Farish's Center for Conscious Loving, LLC, cultivates a lifestyle of love and wholehearted connections through personal growth, altruistic services, and speaking engagements. Resources include classes, workshops, life care coaching, and creative service projects with an emphasis on cultural arts. Visit the website at drjeanmariefarish-consciousloving.com. That's drjeanmariefarish-consciousloving.com, or click the link on the Love Light show page.
Best-selling Authors International news honors best-selling authors around the globe. Dr. Jean Marie Farish is featured in the newly released issue of Published magazine. To have first access to this treasured resource, go to publishedmagazine.com. Vicki Winterton and Dr. Jean Marie Farish have compiled a dynamic book, We're All in This Together, Embrace One Another, an anthology with 24 highly diverse co-authors who share how to spread the message of love, resilience, inclusivity, and compassion. This book is an invaluable source of uplifting, inspiring, and positive insights for spreading positivity in the world. We're All in This Together, Embrace One Another is available on Amazon.com. Be sure to get your copy today.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are tuned in to Love Light with Dr. Jean Marie Farish. Feel free to connect with our program through email or check out our links on Facebook. Reach Jean at Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. That's Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. And now, back to Love Light.
Welcome back to Love Light, living in the spirit of love. And if you're just joining us, we are with our outstanding guest, Gary Stuart, Master Constellation Facilitator, founder of the Constellation Healing Institute, 5 times #1 best-selling international author. And he has a new book out, Venus Envy, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth. It is a wonderful book. And Gary, I want to kind of open the door on the challenges and the fears. You know, there's a lot of challenges and inequities that come with risk, and we can be quite uncomfortable dealing with that, not being seen, not being heard, beset in unhealthy beliefs, suffering in silence, you name it.
Yes, absolutely.
And this leads to a lot of just physical, mental, emotional distress. So I'd like for you to just talk about, you know, the fear and the challenge. Why don't we step forward and try to, and we see people coming forward now being advocates. But what's your take on that?
Yeah, well, you know, don't forget, fear can become a comfort zone. This is going to sound bizarre to say, but I want our listeners, we're taking you through something, guys and gals. So bear with us. You know, fear can be a comfort zone. Like sometimes people are more comfortable being victims. There's always an oppressor. There's always something bad happening in my life. Why does something bad always happen to me? Oh, I'm afraid to step out. I'm afraid to be in the spotlight. Oh, it's their fault. It's this one's fault. If you really look at that at a deeper level, that fear kind of was perpetrated on us, actually more often than not in our family system or the society at large. And, you know, fear, the plus side of fear, it's a protective thing. Don't touch the hot stove, you'll get burned. How many of our listeners did touch the hot stove? I did. I said, whoops, they weren't lying. Yeah. They were telling the truth. My hand is burned. Get a Band-Aid, get some ice, quick. You know, so fear does have value. Now, I heard something. I don't consider I study science, biology, everything, because nature's a metaphor. Do you know that why birds sing? It blew my mind. I never thought about it, so I want to share with the audience here. Do you know why birds sing?
Go for it.
Guess why?
I love birds.
Yeah, there's no
release.
There's no perpetrator attacking them. And so they chirp because they're free from an oppressor and they're happy and singing. When the oppressor's around, they get quiet as a survival mechanism. So isn't that interesting in the bird population? So they would feel fear. They would get really quiet. Now, if you take that to the 20th century, when you look at the people marching into the camps, not uttering a word off the boxcar, isn't it interesting how natural reactions to oppressive forces lead to silence? And it's almost like hiding verbally or not making any noise so you won't be targeted or attacked for speaking up or speaking out. Whether it's a bird or somebody in the forest, they will hide. And if you look at a lion ready to pounce on an antelope in Africa, it just sits there very quiet so it can't be seen. Then all of a sudden, boom, it runs after the antelope till it gets its food supply. The unfortunate thing with humanity, we overkill because in the law of the jungle, you're killing to eat and survive. But we develop false ideologies that make us superior to another religion, another race, and then the oppressive thing starts to cascade generally into wars and destruction.
Yes, that's a nice analogy of the bird. And you're right, fear can shut us down. And on the other hand, for those who speak out.
Right.
What's the
Right.
consequences you see?
Right. Well, you can be attacked, you can be a target. And I don't want to minimize the fear isn't good for survival, because those birds are surviving because they got quiet, say, when a hawk was flying around. They said, oh, we're not going to chirp now. So we don't want to demonize fear as bad and power is good. There's a yin and yang interplay between both. So when you have, let's say, a harmonious balance, sure, fear's okay. When does it stop serving you? Okay, now it's time to step out and I'm going to get under the spotlight as a stand-up comic or as an actor or a public speaker at a TED Talk. Okay, well, the energy of that fear is actually going to propel you to use your life force and brain in a very creative way to engage, let's say, a TEDx audience. It's terrifying, but at the same time, it's exhilarating.
Yes.
And if you look at rock stars, I mean, anyone, whether it's Taylor Swift, the Rolling Stones, how much energy you receive from 30 to 50,000 people cheering you on for a 1 hour, 2 hour concert. How much energy goes into your body. You may be terrified. Oh, will the amplifier break? Will we miss a note? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you have 80,000 people cheering you on because a guitar string broke. So you might have fear, but you're there like, hey, the show must go on. And it's just absolutely fascinating how it does serve us. And then it's like almost overdosing on fear doesn't serve us. And then standing up to fear does serve us, and it doesn't necessarily make us a perpetrator. It just makes us and be in our powers, so we're not victimized.
I love that. And one thing about being quiet and silent, you can observe.
Yes.
Listen, hear, and then you can take time to garner your strengths or, really look at, okay, what is the next strategy? Let me get help from my divine inner wisdom or whatever. I don't want to react too quickly, let me garner my strength. So we can use silence and quiet time for observation.
Absolutely. To collect yourself and make the best decision. So we'll just throw a monkey wrench in the audience's belief system now. Fear is good. Fear is not bad. Power is not bad. Power can be used for bad, but power is good. So see the yin and yang between each. The extreme on one side, it's like can hurt you, and the extreme on the other side, you'll hurt people. So it's just finding that harmonious balance between both and honoring both. I pride myself in honoring all aspects of light, the dark and the light. And I don't think we'd ever get to the light if the dark wasn't our teacher propelling us there. So there's a yin and yang to dark and light. And I choose the light and try to get people to light, but we embrace the darkness. The last thing, let's say the darkness, I don't want to call it satanic or anything like that. Some people do, is to be loved unconditionally. Isn't that going to melt away everything?
Yes.
Wow, you will even love me in my fear, in my attack mode, because I'm so scared I want to lash out. You'll love me in spite of that? Oh my God,
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Can you shed light on the divine and feminine aspects of us as well?
Yeah, every male has that. In the constellation work that I do, it's Bert Hellinger, my deceased teacher. He died 2 years ago of natural causes. He was 95. And he said, no matter male or female, you'll always show a stronger loyalty to your mother than your father because you were inside that woman. It doesn't matter if you're a male son or daughter, you'll always have a stronger loyalty to the feminine because you were inside that woman. You wouldn't be here. So one of the deep insights from the constellation work, which is kind of ancestral family healing, is that we have such a debt of gratitude to our mother for birthing us that never really goes away in our life. That's why mothers are so special. But then you look how women are treated in society. I mean, if you look at what's going on, I don't want to get into the politics of Gaza and Israel right now, but if you look at the women have nothing, their homes have been blown up by bombs, and they're still scouring for food to feed their children. So the next generation of Palestinians will not die in a war zone. Now, if that's not power, I don't know what is.
Thanks for shedding light on that. And looking at how, let's talk about this fear, how it impacts us mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Those who are oppressed, shut down, your voice is shut down. The suffering in silence, the impact on mental health, physical health.
Absolutely.
The fear of many times people silence themselves to be approved. Right?
Yeah.
So that I can continue to get my resources or keep my job or get that promotion. And, I always looked at the end of the day, I have to face myself, my conscience. Have I done the right thing during the course of the day? So I know as we talk about fear, how that manifests in our body in a negative way, and you're going to take us through an exercise. Can you shed light on that?
So just so our audience know, fear is not the enemy, power is not the enemy. It's how we use or abuse it. And it's not really an enemy, it's just a bad choice. So you can make a new choice every second. You can be in terrified fear 1 second, say, you know what, I'm going on stage in the spotlight. I've had enough of this comfort zone of fear. I want to go out and try something new, and somebody who's very powerful, they say, I'm going to be vulnerable today. It touches my heart. I'm going to tell someone I'm really scared, even though I appear powerful. Wouldn't that be a stretch for someone who believes they're powerful or is powerful in life to be vulnerable with somebody and shed a tear with someone and tell them that they're scared and they feel they have to do this to make a difference in the world from their point of view? And then the person who's fearful can say, well, I'm afraid to step out and be like you because I don't want to be considered a jerk, because overpowering people are distasteful for me, but someone vulnerable is who I want to be. So you just see how there can be a flow between both. It's actually, if you hold that in love, that you can love both sides of the coin and have both sides.
To be vulnerable, to be authentic, is beautiful.
Exactly.
And when you can have that healthy dialogue together, look at the impact.
Exactly. Then you can join forces, and somebody powerful may need the emotional balance. Someone in fear may need the buoying up of the courage. And everything serves everything else.
And Gary, let's talk a little bit about image, because a lot of people perhaps who are in power perhaps have deep-seated fear, but they feel like I have to behave this way.
Right, exactly.
I can't be emotional or whatever.
Right.
You're stifling your own growth.
Right,
so.
and that's how misogyny has hurt the males. Males have to be good soldiers. You got to be powerful. You're leading a family. I mean, all of the above can be true, but then when does it go off the rails is the bigger question. When you start oppressing people, and I was a battered child, but back in the 50s and 60s, it was like spare the rod, spoil the child. You won't grow up to be a good adult unless I beat you, blah, blah, blah. So were they unconsciously trying to beat the spirit out of me so I would be a numb little soldier who had no heart or soul? I mean, in hindsight, I feel that's what they were doing. And luckily, my soul or spirit wouldn't go there, so to speak. It did slow me down a bit. That's why I did so much therapy. But at the same time, would I be who I am without that experience? Would Oprah be Oprah if she didn't have those horrific negative experiences that her spirit overcame? Did her family realize there was a future billionaire they were abusing? How would the family react? What? This little girl who we don't give a damn about is going to be a billionaire who wants to change the world and open people's minds and elevate consciousness of the species? What? That little girl who's nothing to us?
Yes,
so look exactly. But would she be on that path without the abuse? Here's the yin and yang of it. Does that make the spirit grow stronger to accomplish its mission this lifetime? Like the negatives are the fuel to get to the positive. That's why I don't demonize negative. That's kind of the catalyst to positive change. So if you look at how negative the world is right now, wow, there must be something really big positive coming if the world is that dark and negative at this moment in time. So and I look at human consciousness as actually in labor to be rebirthed, so to speak, as a species, that we all elevate to a higher plane of existence where we understand the place of positive, negative, good, bad. If you really look at, we're trapped in duality as a species. And I think kind of what's emerging, if I give people a sneak peek of what I'm tuning into, and we're kind of birthing the totality of understanding all aspects of everything, which is elevated consciousness, which is what your show is about, which you and I are already there. And we're guiding people with the love in our hearts to share this with the world, to get them there with us.
Yes. And, one thing that you talked about was the obedience aspect of it. How people are trained to be obedient at work, even though it may not make sense, or be obedient to your parents, even though perhaps it doesn't make sense. But this is what there are consequences if you're not.
Absolutely.
And as you indicated, as you elevate in your consciousness or come into new wisdom and understanding, or your divine destiny, as you mentioned, Oprah, yourself, how it will lead you further on your soul path. And it is truly, truly amazing. And I think we're going to be taking a break shortly. And when we come back in our third segment, you can begin with the bow and release.
Yes, we'll do the bow and release. Yes,
but in the last minute or so before we go on break, do you have anything you'd like to highlight before we?
Well, just love every aspect of yourself. It's okay to be in fear. It's okay to have power. It's just balance between the two. And what I find most, being trapped in duality, we're demonizing one or the other. Include both inside yourself. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be powerful. It's okay to be afraid of power. It's okay to be afraid of being vulnerable. It's all in the mix. So just go with your own flow, and in a way, your soul will guide you to your mission.
Yes. And to be you, be yourself, and be honest with yourself. You don't have to pretend or fake it. Be honest with yourself. If that's talking to another person, a coach, a person like Gary, or journaling, connect with your true self. That's so important. And I think, Gary, we're up for a commercial break. So listeners, stay tuned for more. We have a powerful exercise when we come back. We'll be right back with more on our show, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth, with our outstanding guest, Gary Stuart, founder of the Constellation Healing Institute, master Constellation Facilitator, and author of many healing books, including his latest, Venus Envy, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Dr. Jean Marie Farish is proud to announce the release of her new book, Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being, available now at Balboa Press. This book will help you master your life and flourish in love. You'll learn how to become a better and more evolved you. Feel good by making life-affirming choices. Deepen your feelings and expressions of love. Tune in love and sustain the change. And flourish in love and find your joy. Visit BalboaPress.com and search for Living in the Spirit of Love, and enjoy Dr. Farish's new book today.
I'm Judy Satori. I'm a spiritual channel and activator of human potential. You might have heard me speaking on the Voice of America on Dr. Jean Farish's show, Love Light, because I've been speaking about the challenges that are besetting all of us right now and how we can surrender but also keep on going. I want to invite you to join my new Facebook group that is devoted to heart-centered connection and unity. Through this Facebook group, you can also join my free access question and answer session with Spirit on the first Wednesday to Thursday of every month. Just search Ascension Community on Facebook to join the group. In this session, I answer questions and transmit energy from Spirit to give you guidance and support. Because life on planet Earth ain't easy right now. And there is so much help from above, from beings of love and light, from multidimensional realities who are actually here with us, wanting to step up and support us. I welcome you to become part of our ongoing group conversation about evolutionary change and how it's affecting us as human beings and affecting our life today. Many blessings to you. You can find out more about me and my work at www.ascensionlibrary.org. Have a wonderful day.
Best-selling Authors International news honors best-selling authors around the globe. Dr. Jean Marie Farish is featured in the newly released issue of Published Magazine. To have first access to this treasured resource, go to publishedmagazine.com.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are tuned in to Love Light with Dr. Jean Marie Farish. Feel free to connect with our program through email or check out our links on Facebook. Reach Jean at Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. That's Jean72Farish@yahoo.com. And now, back to Love Light.
Well, you've been listening to Love Light, Living in the Spirit of Love, and I'm Dr. Jean Marie, your Love Light host, and joining me is our outstanding guest, Gary Stuart, Master Constellation Facilitator, founder of the Constellation Healing Institute, 5 times #1 international best-selling author, and Gary has a new book out, Venus Envy, Busting the Male Misogyny Myth. So, Gary, thank you so much for all that you've shared. You have so much wisdom, but we have to get into your exercise.
Exactly. And, one thing I forgot to mention in the last segment really quickly is really we were talking about the harmonious feelings between power and fear. And ultimately, have compassion for yourself. We're all on a learning journey. Have compassion for the person who thinks unbridled power is the best they can do. Have compassion that they may feel empty inside and need vulnerability, and even approach them. You know what I mean? It's something you can do, even if you're feared. Say, I find you a little hollow. What's your emotional life? Imagine a person who thinks they're all powerful, like the Wizard of Oz, having somebody, you sound a little hollow. What's going on with you emotionally? They would be in total shock that someone saw who they really were.
But Gary, what's interesting is that when you're around the similar people, you're all thinking alike, acting alike, pretending, right?
Exactly.
And you being authentic, you can't be that way. So
right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, very fascinating.
Here comes the trauma and the things that you have to deal with. So tell us about the exercise.
So one thing I want our listeners to know is everyone survived tons of trauma to be here. And guess what? Your parents survived the trauma with your grandparents, whether it's cultural, historical, or just negative family emotions in your family system. Then the family system before that, your own ancestors had trauma. What if they had to leave Europe to escape World War II or Hitler? What if they had to leave Ireland because there were no potatoes and they came to America to be potato farmers? Whatever the case may be, everyone did their best so they could survive, and you're here because they passed the gift of life and survival on to you. Now, here's the kicker. We do not have to repeat the negatives that they experienced. That was their time and place. So if you look at a lot of things we do in life as you could call it a negative habit. It's like, well, my ancestors did this, so I have to do that. Well, guess what? You don't. They did all that so something different could happen. You are what's different that can happen. So what I found, this bow and release. So if you say you have a troubled relationship with your mother, go outside or look out your window at a tree and you would say, Mom, thank you for the gift of life. Anything that's not the gift that you gave me, I leave with you and grandma and great-grandmother and all the women who came before.
Honoring.
And then you just bow to it. You bow and honor. It's not subservience. A lot of people say, I'd never bow to my mother or, me. A good example, I was battered to a pulp by my father. I would never do that years ago. Now I see he was a victim of PTSD, World War II, killing Nazis. Then I found out before my uncle died, he was severely abused by my grandfather, physically, violence in my man. I said, oh my God. I said, I had no idea. He already was damaged before he even became a soldier in World War II. So bowing to say some negative males in your life. You gave me the gift of life through my mother. I honor you for that. anything that you carried is not mine to carry for you. Dad, I leave that with you. Grandpa, great-grandpa, and even our nation of origin. So I'll just say in my ethnicity on my male side, I leave that with all the ancestors who lived and died in Scotland.
Very simple, very simple exercise.
Yeah, but you bow to all of them. And then the key is once you bow, you turn your back to them. You turn 180 and walk forward. 99 out of 100 times people say, I feel a weight was just lifted off my shoulders. Because don't forget, everyone who incarnates wants to be free.
Yes, yes. And so we go to nature, go to the tree.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And if it's a male, though, I recommend a building. Say it's both parents if you get a tree by a building, because if you really look at any building, it's been generally, not to be sexist, it's been built by men. So, and any tree is really built by Mother Nature. So if it's male, I recommend doing it to a building, something that's man-made, unless it's a tall oak tree or you see a pine tree standing above the oak tree as the male. A tall tree, and then the oak tree or a birch or whatever, or female, even a bush, a shrub, it doesn't matter, even a plant, a dandelion, something beautiful that nature created out of the ground is more the feminine. And you could look at the trunk of the tree as masculine and the flowers as feminine, you know what I mean? So use nature on both genders, it's okay. And it's everyone says, wow, I just felt like my back feels different. So how many people have back pain and suffer? And a lot of people have done this bio exercise, say, you know what? My back pain kind of disappeared. How could this happen? And the interesting thing, we're carrying energetic burdens just like the ancestors did, but no one stopped to give it back and say, thank you. So the biggest, if I could give you 2 words that would defy psychotherapy and anything you could experience this lifetime, guess what those 2 words are?
What would it be? Thank you. Gratitude. And I love what you were saying about what you did get.
Not what you didn't get. We could cry till the day we die. I didn't get this. I couldn't do that. It's like crying over spilled milk. Yes, it happened. I'm not negating the pain or the suffering from it, but don't be a professional victim till you die. Let the buck stop here. Hey, thanks for what I did get. I leave what I didn't get with you. You are the parents, you are the grandparents, and that belongs to you, not me. I survived it all. So thank you for giving me the skills to survive you. And I'm walking away free. A free man or a free woman now.
And I love what you're saying about be compassionate, because you never know what previous generations had to go through for survival. And we don't have to carry that legacy.
Absolutely.
And to be grateful. And Gary, I know that as a result of your book, as a result of your work, this has led you to more social activism.
Absolutely.
And you're in the process of creating a beautiful foundation.
I know.
Can you share with us a little bit more about that?
The final insight of what we just spoke about is no one asks for what life gives them.
Beautiful.
We didn't ask for it. The ancestors didn't ask for it. So create a healthy boundary and a healthy separation. I'm here because of what you did. I didn't ask for it, but I'm here. Now I'm telling you, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. Thank you. Then walk away. To be a really energetically free man or woman or child if you're still young.
Yes, freedom.
Yes,
what we
freedom.
all would like.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I just got authorized by the IRS to have a foundation, a 501(c), which I know you have one too, right?
Yes.
So finally getting on board here, it's been a lifetime goal. And I've been kind of an avid environmentalist since the 70s. I took an ecology class, was a new thing at Harvard University. I lived in Cambridge, so I got free adult education for $40 a semester with Harvard credit, right? So I was learning all about ecology and ecosystems and water usage, and it was amazing at 20 years old to be at Harvard studying this kind of thing. And so I've been an avid environmentalist. I don't buy into the whole carbon hysteria that's going, so I'm creating a website around the carbon hysteria that's showing up, because without carbon, all life forms will die. And they don't kind of want us to know that plants breathe carbon dioxide and give off oxygen. Without that interplay, talk about power and victim, then life form wouldn't exist, because we're carbon-based life forms that thrive on oxygen, and plants are carbon-based life forms that thrive on carbon dioxide. So what is the problem here? If there is a problem, it's there's not enough plants. We need to green the earth. So my new website's called Global Greening now.org. So, but separate from that, I'm simultaneously starting a foundation called Shamash, because Shamash, in my Venus Envy book, when I was going back in time to Mesopotamia and Sumeria, the name of the sun in Sumerian was Shamash. Now, interestingly, the helper candle that lights the Hanukkah candles is called a Shamash candle. God's helper. God is helping light. I'm not the only person doing it. There's millions of us on earth, but I feel like I've been blessed being one of God's helper candle, or the goddess helper candle, to light other people's consciousness. So to light up the light in the darkness. So
Beautiful.
I did the Shamash Foundation, and I found out at 68 that I thought I was Italian, Scottish, and Irish. It turned out I was 30% Ashkenazi. So I have a whole Jewish side of my family system on my mother's side, who I know very little about. And to honor the missing Jewish side of my life, and to light up the world more, is why I'm starting a foundation. Mainly I'm going to give to environmental causes or sex trafficked people. Some friends of mine have Destiny House to heal girls and boys that have been sex trafficked in Arizona. So they're a 501(c)(3). So I can give other 501(c)(3)s too, once I have enough funds to do so.
Okay. Well, Gary, how can listeners connect? We're getting ready.
Sure. Yeah. My Shamash website should be up soon. It's going to be shamashfoundation.org, but it's not ready yet.
Okay.
But my healing website is GaryStewartHealing.com. And of course, I have, the Global Greening is up in a week. And so I have many other environmental websites that can be up. And the first one I did at Christmas was cleanupoceans.org.
All right.
So
well, Gary,
I'm on the roll.
You are on the roll, and I got to have you back to talk more about what you're doing in terms of your
legacy
work. Yes, you're building your legacy, your manifesting.
Absolutely, for the future.
So thank you, Gary, so much for being on our show today, for your passion, your wisdom, and creating a new world as we evolve individually. And your work is so fantastic. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Always an honor. Thank you so much, Jean.
Okay. Well, much gratitude to the Voice America team for making this show a reality and for shining their love light around the world. I'd like to close out with a thought on self-liberation. Soften and free your heart by forgiving yourself and others. Unchain yourself from the downward spiral of negative thinking, unhealthy habits, and relationships that have fulfilled their purpose. Exchange resentment and anger for compassion and loving kindness. Dance to the music of your soul. Have the courage to be free. What blesses one, blesses all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is Dr. Jean Marie, your Love Light host, coming to you from Voice America. And until we meet again, remember, an empowered self is a loving self. And keep your love light shining. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today.
Thank you for listening to Love Light this week. Be sure to join Dr. Jean Marie Farish again for another program next Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and noon Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a wonderful week filled with love, self-worth, and better connections.